After the punchline. I used to believe laughter was the glue that held a marriage together. The way she laughed, soft, contagious, full of life, was one of the first things that made me fall for her. Back then, every joke I told felt like our own secret language, something only we understood. But somewhere along the way, her laughter changed. It became sharper, colder, like she was laughing at me, not with me. My name's Daniel. I'm 38, an architect from Boston. I've been married to Claire for 9 years, or at least I thought I was married to her. Lately, it feels more like I'm living with a roommate who's quietly tired of me. It started small, the sighs when I talked about work, the rolled eyes when I mentioned weekend plans, the way she scrolled through her phone when I tried to say something meaningful. But distance doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly, like water seeping through a cracked ceiling, quiet at first, until suddenly you're drowning. One night, we were having dinner. I made lasagna, her favorite. She barely looked up from her phone. Trying to lighten the mood, I smiled and said, "You know, maybe we should just get a divorce. At least then you'd have more time for Instagram." She laughed, not the laugh I fell in love with. A loud, empty one that echoed through the room. "Oh, please, Dan, don't be dramatic." Something inside me shifted in that moment. The way she brushed it off like our marriage was just some bad comedy routine, it stuck with me. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, realizing how easy it was for her to laugh at the thought of losing me. Once, I was her world. Now, I was just background noise she'd learned to ignore. The next morning, I found her in the kitchen making coffee, her phone pressed between her shoulder and ear. "No, he's just being sensitive again," she said, unaware I was standing behind her. Sensitive. That word hung heavy in the air. It wasn't the first time she'd said it, but it used to be teasing. Now it felt like an insult. When she saw me, she gave me that same fake smile. "Morning, babe. Coffee?" I shook my head. "Who are you talking to?" "Just Megan." "Don't start," she said, brushing past me. But it wasn't about Megan. It was about everything. The indifference, the distance, the quiet cruelty of being invisible to the person you love most. That night, I sat in the car outside our house for nearly an hour. I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to see her eyes glaze over when I spoke. When I finally did, she was on the couch, scrolling on her phone again. "Claire," I said softly. "Yeah," she replied, not looking up. "Do you even love me anymore?" She laughed again. That same hollow, humorless sound. Oh my God, are we really doing this tonight? That was the moment I knew. The laughter that once brought us together had become the sound of us falling apart. I didn't say another word. I just went upstairs. That night, I slept in the guest room for the first time in 9 years. She didn't come looking for me. The next few days were quiet. She acted like nothing had happened, but something in me had broken. By the end of the week, I'd already met with a lawyer. Over breakfast, I said, "Claire, we need to talk." She smirked. Oh no, not the divorce joke again. But this time I didn't smile. "It's not a joke. I've already spoken to an attorney." Her face went pale. The spoon slipped from her hand and hit the table. For the first time in months, she really looked at me. "Wait," she whispered. "You're serious?" I nodded. Dead serious. Her eyes searched my face for the sarcasm she was used to, but there wasn't any. "Daniel, come on. You're overreacting," she said, her voice trembling. "You don't mean this." "I do," I replied quietly. "And it's been coming for a long time." She pushed her chair back. "This is insane. You're mad because I laughed? Because I made a joke?" I looked at her. "No, Claire. I'm done because the joke became our marriage. Because respect disappeared somewhere along the way." She just stood there, hands shaking, realizing she couldn't laugh her way out of this one. When I left for work, she didn't say goodbye. But for the first time in years, I felt clear instead of confused. In the days that followed, she tried to act normal, making dinner, texting about groceries, pretending nothing had changed. But it was too late. I wasn't angry anymore, just empty. One night, she finally broke the silence. "I can't believe you actually talked to a lawyer," she said, voice cracking. I can't believe you thought I wouldn't, I replied. She sat across from me. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just thought you were being sensitive. I thought we were fine. Fine, I repeated. Claire, we stopped being fine years ago. You just didn't notice. Her eyes filled with tears. So that's it? You're just walking away? I looked at her for a long moment. I saw the woman I'd fallen in love with, carefree, kind, full of light. But I also saw the one who dismissed my feelings, who laughed when I needed understanding. I'm not walking away, I said softly. I'm letting go. She covered her face and cried, not the loud kind, but the quiet, broken kind that comes when you finally realize what you've lost. Not a person, but the love you took for granted. The next morning, she came into the guest room, eyes red and swollen. Please, she said, let's talk. I can change. I shook my head. It's not about changing. It's about caring, and that should have happened when I still believed you could. You really hate me that much? She whispered. I smiled sadly. No, Claire. Hate means I still feel something. I just don't anymore. Later that week, she texted, Can we try counseling? I replied, We needed counseling years ago. Now we need peace. That night, she called me crying. Please, Daniel, don't do this. I made mistakes. I know that. But we can fix this. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't get emotional. I just said, I tried to fix it when I was hurting. You laughed. Now I'm healing, and you're finally listening. There was silence on the other end, then a broken whisper. I never thought you'd actually leave. I didn't either, I said. Until I realized staying wasn't love anymore. It was survival. 3 months later, the divorce was final. She moved into an apartment across town. Sometimes she texts about mail or bills. I always reply, polite but distant. I don't feel proud. I don't feel vindicated. I just feel free. It's strange how peaceful life becomes when you stop begging someone to care. A few weeks later, I found an old photo of us. She was laughing, head tilted back, eyes bright. I stared at it for a long time. That woman doesn't exist anymore. Maybe she never did. I slipped the photo back into the drawer and closed it quietly. They say laughter is the best medicine. Maybe it is, until it becomes the sound of someone dismissing your pain. Now, when I hear people laugh, I don't flinch. I don't think of that night or that moment. I just remember how silence, in the end, spoke louder than any joke ever could. And deep down, I hope she learned something too, that not every man stays after the punchline.